Wait, I want to see myself, what I look like.
It's too late. We're already recording. Hi, guys.
Whoa.
Welcome back.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back to the Her Life BLOGCAST. We have a very special lineup of podcasters today. Emma Spoldy, classic, and another classic, Kevin Verga.
Classic.
All together.
The
First
three
trio
amigos.
episode.
Yeah. It's going to be like a calf conversation all over again.
It's going to be a beautiful, I'm very excited. We have a very good topic today. We're calling this two-part series, the Killjoy Conversation. And I'm so excited. I think it's going to be very fascinating. It might get a little deep, but that's how you know it's good. I'm just really excited. I think the three of us haven't really gotten into this, I don't think ever. So I think it'll be really good to just see how we're feeling about everything. We'll obviously explain more about what we're going to be talking about. But we have to do our intro segments first. Let's start with the What You Drinking? Emma?
Sure. Well, I'm drinking High Noon again. This is probably the third time in a row, but that's okay. But this time it's peach flavored. It's very, very good. I highly recommend.
Love it. Summer lovin'. Kevin?
Yeah.
I'm drinking a Hoegaarden, a wheat beer brewed by monks from originally 1445 AD. And this is actually aged from that day.
Right.
This is a 600-year-old beer.
Wow! Describe
Yeah.
the
Yum.
flavor profile for us, please.
The flavor is enlightened. You know what I mean? This is a knowing beer.
Well, that's how they should be, you know?
Yeah.
This ain't your Bud Light. All right, I'm drinking, this is a new thing for me. I'm loving it, though. Very summery. Crook and Marker, have we heard of this brand? I never had it. This is a Wegmans purchase, and it's spiked and sparkling tangerine flavor.
Yum.
Spiked and sparkling.
Both.
The two S's.
It's delicious. It's very refreshing. I think it's great. I'm already starting to get red, a little flushed. You know, it's doing its job. Anyway.
For the thumbnail.
No. All right. Let's do our reflections of the week, you guys. I'm excited to see what you guys are thinking and feeling. So let's start off with happy. Does anyone want to begin? Kevin, I'm going to throw it to you.
Oh, wow. My H also begins with H, and it's home.
Oh.
I was just on vacation for 9 days, which was nice. It was beautiful. Went to the Jersey Shore, stayed safe, stayed sane, swam a bit, ran a bit, read a bit, family time. But I've realized I'm a homebody. I like to be home, and it's been nice to be back. I've been back for like 24 hours now, so that's what I'm happy about. Happy for home.
That's beautiful, Kevin. I'm happy for you. Emma, how about you?
Thank you.
So I kind of met someone, and I don't know. I've been happy, so we could get into it later. But
we're gonna do a love update.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's exciting.
But yeah, it's exciting, which is our next part. But I'm also very happy. So.
Yay! I love to see. We love talking about love here, so I'm excited to hear
It's
more.
True.
You seem very happy, and I'm happy for you, and I love you. Okay.
Thank you.
Happy for the week is I'm just happy to be a Malik sister, a Malik lady. I think, especially because my sister is moving to Arkansas. Like it's setting in that like the four of us, like me and my two sisters and my mom, will be like separate. And it was really nice being together for so long. Sometimes like too much because that's just how life goes. But it was really nice, and I think we all got super close and just bonded a lot, especially in the last like month. And I don't know, I'm just happy about it. I'm happy like to see the adult relationships between me and my sisters is like a cool transition to watch, and it's been cool. So I'm happy to be a Malik sister.
Oh, that's so
Very
sweet.
nice.
Thank you. What about excited? Kev, I'm throwing it back to you.
Again. I've never dieted in my life. I've always been a little jaded by the thought of the diet. I think it's been phenomenalized in America, at least. And it could be kind of dangerous, but I've taken my time, and I've talked to some good friends of mine, both who are named Matt, and they've recommended the keto diet. And I was keto dieting for the 3 weeks leading up to when I went to the Jersey Shore, and now I'm excited to be back and on it again. I'm drinking a beer right now, so I'm giving myself till Monday and weaning off carbs and sugar until Monday. So tomorrow.
May I ask, is that the one with you only eat protein?
It's the overall rules are no carbs, no sugar. So it's
Oh.
a lot of fats
Oh.
and proteins.
Okay.
Yeah. It was nice. I the 3 weeks I was on it, I felt energy that I had never felt before because it changes
Interesting.
the way your body is breaking down energy. So I'm not recommending the keto diet. I'm just excited for the results I'm seeing because I think I customized it to myself. So it's been interesting to just diet in general. I've never done it before.
And
I'd like to learn more, Kevin. I'll probably text you about that because I'm always interested in.
Oh, all right. I'll be expecting the text. We can chat
Okay.
about it. Voice memos.
Of course.
I'm excited for you too, Kev. That sounds good. I'm not going to try it, but I'm happy for you.
All right. I'll let you know.
Emma, what are you excited about?
It's just been a very busy July and August, and I'm just excited that there's like, I guess, stuff to do with reason, obviously. But yeah, I guess it's just like something to look forward to. My cousin's wedding is still on, etc. So it's a lot more like family stuff, which is kind of nice. Obviously social distancing and everything, but busy July, August coming up. So that's exciting.
Yeah, good to have like things to look forward to after so much of nothing. So it's a nice to see that things are sort of ish getting back to normal. It's like a nice feeling, I think. My excited this week, honestly, and I hate doing this because normally I'm like, it's such a cop-out answer to be like, I'm excited to be here with you guys, but genuinely that's how I feel because I really think this is an important conversation. We're going to be getting a lot into Black Lives Matter and how it's been affecting us in just like our interpersonal relationships, I guess you can say. But also just excited, we mentioned this at the top of the episode, that the three of us get to sit down and finally do an episode because I think, I don't know, it's been really cool to see the evolution of our friendship. I think we've come a long way since we met, and I don't know if any of us would have guessed that we'd all be this close so many years out of first meeting each other. So I'm just like, I don't know, I'm excited to kind of share our cool little dynamic with the world on this episode, these next two episodes. So thank you guys for being down for this because, like I said, it might get a little uncomfortable, a little weird, but I think that's the point. And I'm comfortable with you guys to be having these conversations, and I know I'm going to get a lot out of it because I always do. So I'm excited for what's to come in the next 2-ish hours of content.
Very nice. I think we operate in the weird and uncomfortable a bit.
I think so.
It's true.
It's part of it.
Because that's like where the growth
dynamic
happens, you know?
Yeah.
I feel
well said.
You got it. I'm so excited. Okay, how about realizations? What are we realizing? Kevin, you always have a great answer for this, so I'm excited to hear.
Jesus. And I'm playing right into the caricature of myself. Life is a continuum of intense experiences, and I think it's like a waveform that just continually gets larger and exponentially. This came from a conversation with my mom in the car back from Costco, pre-vacation shopping, and we're talking about the usage of substances in your life. And we were just talking about it, and she was like, Kevin, you're gonna have a lot of more intense experiences in your life. Parents dying, losses of jobs, more intense things. And she says, I've gone through a few of those, and you need to be aware that those things are coming. You're 23 years old. There's a whole life ahead of you, and you need to be aware of how you're setting your habits now of coping and self-realization. And I said, probably something angsty and 23-year-old-ish in the car. But after I left, I was like, wow, that was some sage advice. So
I was going to say, that's really great advice.
It was. So my mom is a very wise person. Shout out my mom, Mrs. Verga. I won't give her full name. I guess I just gave her last name, Karen.
Yeah, right.
She's also been having some struggle. I've been coping with her through the whole Karen craze.
I was going to ask.
How does it feel to be
I didn't want to bring it up.
How is it to be an actual Karen who's not really a Karen? I don't think your mom's a Karen. She's just Karen.
She's not a Karen. I mean, I think everyone is a little bit of a Karen, right? But my mom is actually Karen, and she's not a Karen. She's not. But she is Karen.
Right.
That's for sure. So
Shout out
thank you,
Karen.
Karen/mom. Yeah.
Yeah, we love to hear. I would love to hear more about your mom sometime.
That's so funny.
She'll be on the next episode.
That'd be so cool. We should do a mom. I say that all the time. My mom would be like, "Hello, like, what do I talk about?"
Hey, that'd be funny.
All right, that was a great answer as always, Kevin. You never disappoint. How are you gonna
Thank
follow
you.
it up? What'd you realize this
I
week?
know. Whoa, man. Okay. Well, so I moved out of my apartment in the city yesterday, and like driving in and not being able to go to the city in such a long time, and just kind of knowing that I'm not going to be there for a very, very long time. I was just like, this is very sentimental, and it kind of just shows like if you're meant to be in a place and you like step foot in it, it like, I don't know, the feeling was just kind of unexplainable, and I'm like, I just need to be here. So I don't know, I guess like my realization is that we're destined to be in the city. Like, I don't know, it was just a weird feeling, and we'll get there eventually.
We will.
It sounds like you'll be back, Emma, very soon, as soon as you can be.
Yes.
And I react like, what a reassuring feeling, you know? We're not there right now, but I think there are limited things, especially in this stage of our lives, and especially in like the everything climate that we're in, that feel reassuring, and you're so sure about it, and everything feels right. So when you have those moments, I think it's important to like hang on to it. So I'm glad that you're doing it, and I agree.
Yeah, Kevin, I'll be subletting that top bunk.
I'll see you there. We have no AC, but we'll make a great roommate pairing. That's for sure.
That'd be funny.
Updates to come regarding that. My realization this week, I wrote, who is this girl? I like her. I feel it's about me. I think like I really have come into my own, and I think maybe it took this time of a lot of introspection and reflection to kind of come to this. I don't know, just the way I'm interacting with the people around me, even like virtually. I don't know, all the people I've come into contact with, I'm just happy with the way I'm handling situations, and I mean that in small scale and big scale. I like this girl. Like, I'm glad that this is adult Rachel, the beginning chapter. So I don't know, we'll get more into it, I'm sure. Like, dissect.
So well said.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it. That was my realization though. I'm like, I don't know, that sounds a little like I just love myself. But I think that's good, you know what I mean? Because there's not all the time that you can say that. So
Absolutely.
Who is this girl? I like her.
Ooh.
Wait, I have a question, Rachel.
Sure.
I just did the Bernie Sanders I have a thing to say hand. Do you see that? You're wrong. You're not wrong. You're right. That was my Bernie Sanders impression. Thank you, everyone. I'll be
Really
here.
good.
My question was, I'm thinking now, oh, who is saying that sentence? Is it a past Rachel that is saying, who is this girl? Or is it someone on the street with a mask?
Maybe that.
Present day Rachel.
Yes, I think it's like the Rachel who now makes daily reflection a part of her life. You know what I mean? Where I like do something or react a certain way and then think about why this version of myself did it. And I'm like, who is she? Like, I like that.
Oh.
You know?
I see.
I feel similar to the way I feel in my knee-high snakeskin boots. And I haven't been able to...
Oh, man, yes.
Emma knows, like, those boots transform me. Kevin knows, too. I've talked about this a lot. When I wear those boots, I become a new person. And it's like, who is this girl? But I like her. And I feel like I'm just becoming that girl without the boots.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So one day you took off the boots and you still had that energy and you thought, who is this girl? I like her.
I figured out how to get the snakeskin boots without wearing the snakeskin boots. And I think that's how you win at life.
It's gotta be the opening little
I know, that's great.
card, right? Before the her life noise.
Yeah, I'm always like, what's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? But that's it right now. Who is that girl? Anyway, that's my realization. Thank you guys for like hyping it up. I knew you were a good crowd to receive that realization. So, woo! Okay, my favorite. Let's do a quick love update. I can kick us off if you want, because mine aren't really.
Oh, sure.
Do you want to kick us off, Kevin?
No.
I thought you were raising your hand. I'll do it. I think that we have reached the stage in the global pandemic where quarantine love affairs are now recycled. I'll explain what I mean. yesterday 2 different ex-internet boyfriends of mine from like Corona season came back and were like, hey, how have you been? Like, we're already revisiting. I just think it's interesting. We're at that stage now. It's been that long. We're like, I broke up with my internet boyfriend and now he's come back. And it happened twice yesterday. It felt really great. It was
Life
a good.
is cyclical.
Yeah.
The ex text is a part of quarantine. I've been texting one of my exes, and it's been good. It's like a few degrees away. This is high school. My high school sweetheart, who is a sweetheart, and yeah. So I've been talking to her, and it's good just to catch up. You know, like, hey, 5 years later, how you coping with this?
Yeah.
And it's nice to get some perspective. It's good to know people, talk to people that knew you in a different era of your life, especially in this new chapter that we're all going through.
That's so true. Well said, Kev. Well said. Emma, any love updates you want to share? You don't have to. You could say as much or as little as you want. You kind of already gave your love update. You're just very happy.
I know. I kind of did. Yeah, I'm just very happy because I think I've met someone. No, I know I've met someone. Yeah.
You think he's gonna listen to this?
I don't know.
I hope he does.
Sorry, Kevin.
I have a question.
Sure.
Don't be so scared.
I don't know. I'm nervous.
That reminds me of usually when I call either of you, it hasn't happened recently, but you guys always answer like something is wrong. Like, Kevin, what is wrong? Rachel, I just called you on my way down to the Jersey Shore. You didn't answer like that, but it was for a long time that there was an emergency.
I think it's because you texted me before. Like, I missed your first call, and then you left me a 12-minute voicemail, and then
Oh yeah.
I like responded and you texted me. So like I knew it was just like a catch-up call, so I wasn't nervous.
Yeah.
The cold call is a thing that kids our age don't do. So it's just like when you see someone who does that, I'm like, is there a fire?
Are you okay?
The struggle of being a 40-year-old man trapped in a 23-year-old body.
The plague of
Please
Kevin.
help. My question, Emma, is you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but you use the word met and the word met. Like, we're in a Zoom meeting right now.
Oh,
have
cool.
you met this person in person?
Yes, I have, actually.
Oh, very nice. Okay.
4 times now.
4?
Or no, 4 or 5 times now.
5 times. Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's how you know it's real. If you're going out and meeting these
I
people,
know.
that's real.
Risking
every weekend in the row.
Nice.
Yeah, one was a surprise one too.
How so?
Oh, it was during 4th of July, and he was basically saying, hey, I'm like 15 minutes from you. I'm coming up to see you to watch fireworks with your dad. I'm like,
Love
okay.
it. My God, he's met your dad.
He's met my dad. He's met my mom over FaceTime.
Wow.
I've met the sisters. I've met the mom. I've met the dad. I've met a lot of people.
Wow.
That's amazing. Know. It's like a lot.
Love is in the air.
But it's in the air, yeah. It took me some time to realize it. I'm not going to lie. And I was a little afraid, but that's okay.
Part of it.
Oh, it's not just fine particulate matter in the air or small little globules of virus in the air. It's also love. And that gives me hope.
Me too.
Don't wear a mask for love. Get a filter system. Let the love in.
Yeah.
That might be the intro clip. That might be.
Touch some love on a ShopRite conveyor belt and rub your eye. You gotta let it in.
I love it. Love is in the air. No, that's beautiful. I'm very happy for you. I'm happy for all of our love. Kevin, do you have anything specific you'd like to add to the love update? You don't have to. I have a question if you don't mind.
Sure.
Like you're new to Hinge.
Mm-hmm.
Just
new
give me a reaction. Like, how do you feel being on Hinge?
I think Hinge is the best dating app. And not because I'm like, this is the best. I'm having so much fun. I think it's just the best, well-designed app. Because I feel like I can be there for the banter.
Mm-hmm.
And I can just be like, hey, what's up? How are you? I enjoy the idea of not having any pressure to meet up because obviously that's not going to happen unless you really like the person. And that's kind of an indicator that you really like the person and that you're putting the effort in.
Yeah.
So I have not met up with anyone yet. Maybe. But I've gotten some great book reading, movie requests, and just some good time just talking to really interesting people that live in the city. So overall, I've enjoyed my time on Hinge.
I'm happy to hear that, because I do too. I feel very similarly. I think it's a very low stakes moment right now to be on the apps. So I think it's a good time to test the waters and just meet people, because we're not getting a lot of interaction. You know what I mean? So when you can grab it, grab it. Happy for you, Kev.
Grab it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on to Swoon of the Week. A great segment, as always. Kevin, I'm throwing it right back to you. What / who are you swooning for this week?
I love this.
I am swooning over the Theragun.
You explain.
I've been in love.
Yes.
I've been in love before, but never like this. No one has ever made me feel this way. This just sweet release. You have you ever woken up next to a loved one on a Saturday morning and thought, all is right in the world? Now imagine that packaged in a therapeutic muscle massager that runs on batteries and has 5 preset speeds. That's what I have in my room right now. That's who sleeps in my bed with me every night. And that's who the first and last thing I think about when I'm going and waking up from sleep. So to say that I'm in love is doing this injustice, because, like I said, no love has made me feel this way. And I highly recommend it. Buying it at theragun.com, I think.
That was excellently delivered.
Thank you.
I don't have much to say. That's a great package of a swoon. Like, I'm just happy for you.
And it is a package. It came in a package, 2-day FedEx overnight delivery, and I opened it, and it was love at first sight and love at first massage.
Love at first massage. You heard it here first. This is a real life swoon. I love when it's real and not just like a hope. He's experienced.
No, it's real.
It's a part of your life. I'm very happy for you, Kevin. I don't have anything else to add.
Nothing else needs to be said. It just is, you know, how love is.
Very happy. I'm happy for you. Love, like we said, is in the air. All right. Emma, who are you swooning for?
I'm going to say it again. Jake from State Farm. Not because I want like his attention or anything right now. It's just that he literally pops up on my television every single commercial. And I'm like, you're trying to tell me something, Kevin Miles. I know you are.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say Jake from State Farm again. Also, happy birthday again.
I sent him our episode last week again. Like, I keep just sending him links, and I'm like, you're at the top of the episode this time, just to see if he'll, like, I just want him to repost. I want him, I don't know.
I know.
I want him to fall in love with you, if I'm being completely honest.
And it's not being creepy or anything. It's just, like, genuine here. Yeah. Really, swoon of the week. And I'm always so excited to see you on the television.
He's just a great person to be swooning over.
Yeah.
Right.
The man is handsome. He seems like a stand-up gentleman, and he's saving you money on car and home and auto.
Bundle.
What are you doing if you're not bundled up with him and bundled up your car insurance?
And if you're not calling him at 3 a.m., Jake from State Farm, it's 3 a.m. What are you wearing, Jake from State Farm?
I have a question.
So intimate.
Yeah.
I have a question. Do you have a favorite Jake from State Farm ad that's running right now? Because there's lots of different ones.
I know.
Okay, hit me.
I like the classic one where it's like, it's Jake from State Farm. What are you doing here at 3 a.m., Jake from State Farm? I don't like the superhero one. I think there was like a superhero one.
Okay.
I'm gesturing to the television because he's always there, so I feel like
he's there right now.
He's like right there right now.
She just has the freeze frame of Jake from State Farm, like as her screensaver always.
I like him when he's in the office. Let's just say that.
That's fair. But I like how he's branching out. I think that's important. My favorite is the Bachelor spoof ad. where he's like, Preston T, she doesn't love you, but it's okay, I'll save you money. Like, that I think is just iconic. I love that there's like two Prestons in this hypothetical Bachelor universe, so they have to differentiate with the initial. I think it's artfully done, and I think Kevin shines in that commercial. I really do. Kevin, of course,
That's
is
so funny.
Yeah.
I have something added on my thought. The rebranding of Jake from State Farm was expertly done.
Oh no.
And there's a second half of that original commercial that has been cut entirely, which is, do you remember this? The wife says, she sounds hideous. And then he says, well, she's a guy, so. And they cut that because Gen Z people are going to be like, excuse me.
Not about that anymore.
Not cool. Not cool.
What a perfect example of how progressive we are as a society.
Yeah, and not progressive the auto insurance. Flo is fine, but progressive in terms of socialness.
Flo's annoying, let's just be honest here.
The layers of this commercial. I feel like I identify with Flo. Like, if I was an insurance salesman, I would be Flo, so I can't knock her, but I think I have Flo energy, but it's beside the point. That was a excellent commentary, Kevin. I'm excited for the other Kevin to hear this, and I'm going to send him an episode every week. He's going to be like, this is getting weird. We might have to rename this podcast, like, Jake from State Farm something, because really it's what it's becoming. But I don't want it any other way. This is excellent. It's a great pick. Emma, I wonder what she'll pick next week. No, I'm just kidding. Okay.
Week 50, still Jake.
Still Jake.
Still Jake. Okay, my swoon this week is just a classic. There's not a shot in hell that this person is going to reply to my DM, but I'm picking him anyway because he's just the ultimate swoon, I feel. Michael B. Jordan. He's just super
I'm surprised you haven't said this earlier, Rich.
I know. He really is one of my top guys. I made a decoration that I will put up every November. Picture of Michael B. Jordan, and it says, Michael be thankful. I think that's it's one of my favorite pieces of decor. I just love Michael B. Jordan. I really do think he seems like a stand-up guy as well. Like, I don't think he would be mean to me if I met him in real life, and I really do think we could fall in love. But that's beside the point. I picked Michael B. Jordan this week specifically because it leads me right into my next point. Michael B. Jordan's latest movie is called Just Mercy. Have either of you seen Just Mercy? Highly, highly, highly recommend. Emily and I, my sister and I, saw it over Christmas break. I think it was in theaters, and we saw it. And it was just so moving. I'm going to really get into it. But perfect example of Killjoy Content, which is the first piece of our episode here talking about Killjoys. I think the best way to describe what a Killjoy Content is, it's like a movie, for example, that you would watch where you're not going to get like a nice happy ending, and it's not going to make you feel good. It's not a piece of escapism like most of our media usually is. It's the complete opposite. It's designed to make you uncomfortable and to make you question maybe your own biases or the way that the world is functioning and your position within it. Like, its intention is to make you uncomfortable and then hopefully to do something about it. And Just Mercy is a really good example of that. Let me see. I think I have it right here. Yeah. Okay. Because I have some statements from Warner Brothers because they made it available. Warner Bros. Because they made it available for free for the whole month of June to get people to be like, watch this film, educate yourself. It'll help you. You know what I mean? So I think I have a statement from them. But first, I'll give you a little preview on the movie. So it's a 2019 courtroom drama, so very recent. They made it free through the month of June. The movie tells the true story of Brian Stevenson, who founded the Equal Justice Initiative. He is a Harvard-trained lawyer who relocates to Alabama and takes up the case of the wrongly accused Walter McMillian, who's on death row. And he takes that case all the way to the Alabama Supreme Court. And he just was arrested for no reason, essentially, again, wrongfully accused. And it just really shows, and the people that his character meets throughout, again, it's based on a true story, but how many men were in a similar position, wrongfully accused and then just sent to die. I don't know, it like really like spoke to me, I feel, and shook me up inside. I feel like me and Emily left the theater that day being like, oh my God. Like, it was kind of that thing where it was like a silent ride home, and we were just kind of like, that was very heavy, but like, that's the point. You know what I mean? Anyway, Warner Brothers put out that movie for free for the month, and they put out a really nice statement that I wanted to read. It said, "We believe in the power of story. Our film, Just Mercy, based on the life work of civil rights attorney Bryan Stevenson, is one resource we can humbly offer to those who are interested in learning more about systemic racism that plagues our society." So I just think a really good example of like an institution like Warner Brothers, who has a lot of power, has a lot of privilege built into the wealth and everything that's there, giving a resource to people and hopefully change some opinions and deconstructed some biases and that kind of thing. So I don't know, definitely a great example. Michael B. Jordan is the star. If I'm being totally honest, that's why I went to see the movie. Like, I went because it was a Michael B. Jordan film, and it is so much more than that. You know what I mean? I can't stress that enough. I don't know, he's the hottest guy ever, but it is the most important movie. You know what I mean? So I just think excellent casting, but also just excellent film all around. Also, Jamie Foxx is in the film, Brie Larson. There's no way that movie's not gonna be good. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know. Definitely see it if you're interested, because I think it's something that'll stick with you. I don't know, really good. But similarly, I don't know if you guys saw on Netflix, they released like the Black Lives Matter collection. And I think that all has a similar vibe. I thought that was a really smart way. It like popped up right on Netflix when you logged in, when it first became available. Right. And I just thought, like, again, you're reaching a lot of people. You have a lot of captive audiences right now. Let's make it as easy as possible to get people to educate themselves in an easy way. You know what I mean? Just like pop on a documentary and you can learn a lot without putting a lot of work in, you know? So I'm glad that things like Netflix are taking advantage and using their power. They put another statement out that I'm going to read. I'm sorry, there's like lots of quotes, but I think they were just well done, so I wanted to share. Netflix tweeted this out. They said, "When we say Black Lives Matter, we also mean Black storytelling matters. With an understanding that our commitment to true systemic change will take time, we're starting by highlighting powerful and complex narratives about the Black experience." So, yeah, I don't know. And I think it's encouraged me to watch more than I probably would have otherwise. You know what I mean? When it's all there in a nice little package, and I don't know, they're making it easy, and I think a lot of us are benefiting from it. Any reactions from the group about statements like these and how big companies are reacting in this way?
I'm currently looking up the definitions of systemic and systematic and what the difference is.
There's a difference. I remember seeing a post about it, and I think systemic is like more deep. That's like not a good way to describe it. There was a whole Instagram like infographic about it, but I think systematic is, I don't know. Let me know if you find anything good about it. Like,
I thought I found a good one, but I'm currently on withoutbullshit.com, so I think I'm gonna find dictionary.com. I'm sorry to retract from your overall very well said response. I've never seen Just Mercy. I don't think I've ever even seen a Michael B. Jordan movie. I had to leave Creed for a personal reason within the first 45 minutes.
Okay.
The person I was with had to leave, so I had to leave.
Seems like a backstory. We'll get that next week. No, just
off camera. I'll tell the story because it's funny.
Okay.
But he has really solidified himself. I know him through pop culture as a respectable and vocal person, and you can't help but root for that type of person. Totally. And he's really found himself not only as a successful actor and someone that can get views. I mean, like you said, he was the reason that you wanted to watch it, and that's a fine thing to have. But he also has taken roles that are difficult to play and require difficulty to sit through and watch. Mm-hmm. Not because they're bad, he's a great actor, but because they're uncomfortable. And even Creed, which was kind of a summer blockbuster-esque type thing to watch, is a retelling of the classic Rocky story from the Black experience, from a young boy who lost his father to violence and has to tell that story. So that's an exciting person to have in the zeitgeist and in the movie industry.
Yeah.
And then also to still be popular enough to get those fringe people to watch something that they may have not watched if some other actor was there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's exciting. Fully support him.
Yeah. We're big Michael B. Jordan people here. I don't know. I think you're right. I think that was very well said. And I think there's something very important about using the power that you have. And I think that's going to be a through line of today's episode too. I'm going to talk about Ava DuVernay later. That's another really great example of someone who established a lot of power for herself, and she makes the most of it on a very consistent basis. And I think that's the goal for everybody, right? You want to get to a point where you have a big audience just eating out of the palm of your hand. You know what I mean? And you could tell them very important things that they need to hear that they might not have heard otherwise. That's very cool. And also Michael B. Jordan is super hot. Again, not the point, but it's important to say he's my swoon. Oh, very well said.
If you're hot, you might as well be socially just about it, you know, which makes you even hotter.
Exactly.
Nothing sexier than social justice.
There was nothing.
Oh, I like that, Kevin. Oh.
I feel like we could end the episode. Like we established what we came here to establish. No, so true though. Anyway, okay, I have more to say, I think. Where did I leave off? Oh, let's do more like what have you guys been watching, reading, listening to that maybe you think captures this kind of Killjoy essence where it might be uncomfortable to watch, but you really gained something from it, so much so that you probably want to share it with somebody else, like on this platform. Emma, I'm going to toss it to you. I'm sorry.
I'll go. Sure. So Rach, I believe you read this as well. Kevin, remind me if you did or did not, but it's called Cat Person by Kristen Rupenian. I hope that's right. How you say the last name. But it's in the New Yorker, and it's kind of like a short story, I would say. There's a lot of debates about it, but I would say it's a short story. Actually, I highly recommend if you go online and listen to it instead.
I did the same thing.
I always like that better. Yes. It's about like 38 minutes or something like that. Anyways, I first read this in my human sexuality class at Fordham. You honestly have to read it like 2+ times to kind of fully grasp it. But the basis of it, it's about a 20-year-old college girl falling for an older man. So at first you're kind of like very interested in it because I think we're all, as we discussed, very interested in love, relationships, etc. So it kind of grabs your attention that way. However, I have a lot of quotes too, Rachel, so there you go.
No, I love it. That's important.
There you go. People have been saying it's eerily true. And it was because it was especially popular in the Me Too movement. And it's basically the idea of dating in our 20s, something exciting, etc. Also, Rachel, feel free to chime in anytime, just like to give your thoughts on it too, because I think we've talked about it a bit. But anyways, I would say that it's definitely a killjoy because it's trying to convince oneself that this person or man or relationship significant other is actually a good person despite all of the really harsh, bad red flags. And in this case of the story, it was sexual harassment, right, Rach? And just it was not good. But the way that she as in Margot, the main character, was that there's always like a draw to that person though, despite these red flags. So again, going back to the eerily true quote, a lot of the people said that she adds like a familiarity to it, even though it is so frightening, and that people kind of look at it and being like, oh, this is true. Like, I'm still going to go back to that person because you don't want to hurt that individual. I don't know. It's just like a kind of like a double standard. That's what I kind of thought, right? That's what I was kind of going.
What struck me the most about the essay was how just like nuanced the descriptions were, and I feel like that's how we experience it, where you can't black and white be like, this is exactly how I'm feeling in this moment, and then it changed at this point. Like, that's not how real life works. So I think the author did a very excellent job of almost like manipulating her words so that you felt like you were in the headspace of the subject, the main character. So I don't know. And I think my main takeaway, I think after reading that was more, because it is like sexual harassment, but I think sexual harassment that you don't totally know for sure if it's happening or not, and that's why it's so scary, because you can't
Right.
like identify it in the moment. And then it plays into also the obligation I think a lot of us feel, and I'm like keen to say women, but that's because I only know the female experience. But I think, speaking for myself, I think sometimes when romantic situations reach a certain point, you're like, is there an obligation at this point? Like if you go back home with the guy, do you just have to sleep with him because you already did it this far? And if you thought, and you can't change your mind because that wouldn't really be fair to him, like, of course not, that's insane. But then when you're experiencing that, it feels like a pressure. And I don't know, I think just it was really brilliantly done. And that's why it blew up the way it did. I'm sure so many people related to it. And I think that's why it was extra scary, because it's like people are experiencing this all of the time. Right? I don't know. But definitely a killjoy, because you're like, oh my God. Especially because it's disguised as this cutesy, lovey-dovey kind of story.
Right.
You think you're reading a romance and they're going to fall in love and everything's going to be great. But that's not how it is all the time. So I think it was an important, true story to tell. And it was just done in a really smart and effective way. That stuck with us years after the fact. I read that story in a class called Disobedience in Literature, where we read stuff by authors whose intention was to break the mold and upset the audience and like challenge societal norms. So I think that speaks to the impact of the essay too, and why it fits in this conversation. I think it's a really good example. I'm glad you like brought that back up.
Thank you.
Really good piece though. I also recommend listening to it. I think it's more you like
effective. Yeah. I don't know, it's very it's uncomfortable, but it's okay to be uncomfortable in general, but it just kind of puts you in a different mindset and makes you reflect about yourself and just like your relationships in general. So I highly recommend it. Give it a listen a few times.
Yeah, really great example. I'm glad you brought that up. I feel like I want to revisit it too, just because it's really, if nothing else, it's a great piece of writing that I think a writer could learn from, you know?
Right.
Oh, good pick, huh? Love it. Kevin, how about you? What's your content picks?
I have a few, but I kind of want to respond to Emma real
please,
quick. You, that was really well said, and both of you. Something Emma said caught my attention, and kind of goes back to what we were saying before, which is social justice is sexy, but also, let's say you're falling in love with someone that is socially active and an activist. It's going to be a very uncomfortable relationship a lot of the time, because to love that person and to love yourself and to be in love with each other, someone that wants to change the system that we're living in requires constant self-reflection and being comfortable with being completely uncomfortable. And that's part of any loving relationship, is self-reflection, but especially when it's trying to be good. And it seems that this story almost supports that. Well, it doesn't almost, it does. I'm trying to get at the point that I'm saying. It made me think a lot of things because I haven't read this yet. But it's just interesting to be, Emma, you said something about like being okay with being uncomfortable. And that's such a good mindset to be in, because I don't think it ever gets any easier. Even if you practice being uncomfortable, it'll still be very uncomfortable. I think this kind of goes back to us being RAs, is that all summer and all year you're training to be in these uncomfortable situations, and then when they actually happen, they're still incredibly uncomfortable. And then you leave and you're like, wow, I reflect on it. I'm going to be better in that situation next time. But that doesn't mean that you're not going to be uncomfortable again, because you're walking into that situation again, whether it be love, whether it be an uncomfortable situation with a resident or a friend or anything. It's still going to be a new you with a new situation, still being uncomfortable. So that's fascinating. I'm going to listen or read that probably tonight. So that's exciting. Cool.
I think you would have a lot of good feedback. Like, I want to hear.
Yeah.
I think that'll be a very interesting conversation.
We'll have to debrief afterwards.
Yeah. Voice memos all night long. I can't wait.
Yeah. I would like that, because I do appreciate any writing or anything that gets me into a different psyche. And it seems like the writer for this has done a good job of getting into the psyche of not only, for me, a female, but a female that's going through some sort of abusive situation, and to understand that. because as much as I'd like to be an ally, I will never have that experience in the female form. So I just will appreciate that, and will also appreciate both of you not, I don't know, want to say enlightening me, but helping me understand it and grapple that from your own personal experiences as well. So
Yeah.
look out for voice memos, I guess.
Excited.
Can't wait. I wish we had a Patreon. We could share this on the Patreon.
Right.
Maybe we'll get there.
But to your point, Rachel, this is the whole point of Killjoy. It like makes you converse with other people and start getting into those different psyches, etc. So again, exciting episode. I like this. I like this kind of stuff.
Totally. And I'm glad you brought it up, because I think when I like was designing the episode, I had very Black Lives Matter only in my head. Like I thought it was going to be the sole focus, but I think this is a really great example. Also because like you and I, Emma, can speak on this perspective. And then we have Kevin like wanting to be an ally and like seeing this side of the Killjoy kind of experience and how we're all killing each other's joy right now. But look how productive it is. You know what I mean? Already. I think this is a good like snapshot, microcosm, if you will, of the whole Killjoy conversation that we are having this week and next week. So yeah, like I don't know, I'm just like happy already.
Nice.
But anyway, Kevin, back to you. What are you watching? What are your Killjoy contents of choice?
Yeah, I have 3.
Sure.
I can go through them quickly, but going off Netflix, we were talking about the Black Lives Matter collection. I've watched this a few times already, but I've revisited season 1, or volume 1 rather, of Dear White People.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just such a great show. And now, of course, I'm seeing this in a new light with the current state of things. But firstly, the name alone is showing that it's being directed towards me, a white person. But never did I ever feel, or I don't think, I can't speak for anyone else's experiences, that they're pandering or trying to like talk directly or sacrificing the integrity of the writing in the show and the real telling that they're trying to say by addressing it to white people to make me comfortable. All of it is to make me uncomfortable. Have either of you seen Dear White People, the show? I know there's also a movie.
I've seen the
Rachel,
first 2 seasons in their entirety, but I'm on season 3 and I've kind of I want to restart season 3 because I watched it too intermittently. Like I don't remember the plot lines really, but the first 2 I remember feeling a similar way where I was like hesitant to start it because I was like, this is gonna make me feel bad. But it's like it's not that direct. You know, I don't know. I think it's a good way to like ease yourself in, I guess, to Killjoy content, because I think the name is inviting, you know, first of all, at a very basic level. But I just think it's done in a really smart way. I also like that it was like set in college and I watched it in college. So I was like, okay, like comparing experiences that were probably happening on our campus as they're happening on the show. It was interesting to see. But yes.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
And I think in our group chat, I said something along the lines of, you were saying that you're going to watch 13th. And I said, I love a well-done narrative. And that's really what they do. And Dear White People does that as well. Of course, in a different form, but they talk about privilege, allyship, gun violence, culture, sexuality, and then still wrapping that in a humanizing bubble that makes these characters feel lived in. And then to make it feel direct, I love the cinematography and it's a great show. It's just a great story, and the cinematography is great. And I love when every character at the end looks you right in the eyes. Like, that's just such a great touch. Oh, it's so good. I love Dear White People. It's a really great show. So that's what I'm watching on Netflix. And then I'm also reading 2 books. Another one that deals with that, you know, that can be associated with the Black Lives Matter movement, of The Fire Next Time by James Baldwin. I have never had such a surreal, grounding, uncomfortable experience as I did reading that. It's another form, kind of like Dear White People, where it's letters, 2 letters that he wrote, one to his nephew on the centennial of the emancipation of American slaves, which was 1965, not very long ago. And then the second is what he says, a letter from the recesses of his mind. So both, again, these are addressed to someone to be read and interpreted, which I think helps the idea of understanding. And, you know, it's uncomfortable because the person's talking to you and you can't help but listen and try to respond, even though I can't talk to James Baldwin, especially while I'm reading it. So that's a great book as well. I highly recommend it.
Great. You said there was another book?
I'm worried about just talking for too long. Do you guys want to say something to break up the sound of my voice?
I remember reading bits and pieces of that in different classes here and there, but it's definitely something I want to read cover to cover again, not because I have to, but because I want to like sit with it and appreciate it. I've been revisiting a lot of books that I've read in classes, and it's a very different experience. I don't know if you can speak to it as well. Like I think reading something because you have, and you get a lot out of it in class, obviously, and the discussions that your peers bring up, and that's a whole other thing, and I miss that a lot. Reading the important works that I am now. But I also think it's a very different experience to just let yourself, I don't know, interpret it as you wish and sit with it yourself because you want to. So
Yeah, that's a great way to say it. I got it for free outside Fordham's campus ministry. It was just sitting there, take free books.
Wow.
I was like, nice.
What a coincidence, huh?
Yeah, free James Baldwin literature. Can't beat it. And then the third one, I revisit this every 6 months. Franny and Zoe by J.D. Salinger. It's very different than Dear White People or The Fire Next Time. Have either of you read Franny or Zoe or no? Rachel, I know you read Catcher in the Rye a lot, right?
Yeah, every summer. I'm coming up usually in August.
Oh, nice.
Coming up on the reread.
That was the last book I read when I was living actively in the city. I remember finishing in Central Park. It was very nice.
That's a good experience.
Yeah.
I bet.
So the reason I thought of this one for Killjoy, and it's not really aligned with feminist killjoys or the Black Lives Matter movement. I mean, these are Franny and Zoe are rich, northeastern, college-educated people. But the story, and the reason I can revisit it so much is that it's only 170 pages, and the story is just 3 conversations. The first is between Franny and her boyfriend Lane, and then Franny has this kind of existential breakdown and makes her go home to the Glass family residence in New York City. And then Zoe, her like elitist but well-educated brother Zoe, is like reads a letter from his brother Buddy, and then his mom comes in while he's in the tub, and they have this conversation about how they're going to deal with Franny, and then Zoe talks to Franny, and that's the book. Nothing crazy happens, but it's just so real. And at the root of it, it's about the act of becoming educated and how educating yourself can lead to existential pain where it is difficult. And then not only the becoming, but then being educated is painful. And Zoe keeps talking to Franny about how they're freaks because their brothers, when they were really young, educated them and like they've became these really intelligent people. But Zoe keeps talking about how he can't have a conversation without breaking down everything the person says across from him. And he keeps saying, I'm the heavy in my life. I can't have a normal conversation. I keep just beating people up with my words. And then Franny, in this very vulnerable situation that she got herself into for doing that to her boyfriend Lane, is now getting yelled at by Zoe. And then Zoe's like, geez, I'm an asshole. Like, I can't just have a normal conversation. I'm a freak. And I just relate to Zoe a lot because I feel that a lot. Like, I can't go into a conversation without making it super deep, or like we talk about having calf conversations. Like, I ask people to go to the calf and they're like, Kevin, just not now, man. Like, I can't sit with you right now.
I can't.
I just want to have a normal day, and you're gonna make it something. So that's why I visit it so much, and I just feel vindicated. But overall, like, I also learn about myself. So thank you for listening to those 3 long-winded explanations.
May I ask how long you've been, because you say every 6 months, so how long have you been doing this for?
Since freshman year. I had a late night conversation with some of my friends, and he recommended Franny and Zoe, so I picked it up and I read it. In the summer when I go to the beach every summer, very lucky, and then around New Year's I'll pick it up again.
Those are good timestamps.
Yeah.
I think there's something so cool, and we've talked about this before. We've had episodes about this, about reconsuming content. I think we're always different versions of ourselves. So to revisit the same exact words on the same exact page, and you always take different things away. So I think there's something really cool and, I don't know, revealing is the word about it. You know what I mean? For yourself. So I think that's cool. I think that's a great choice because, again, like the things that make us uncomfortable, but in a productive way, come in lots of different shapes and sizes. So I think I think these were good examples of how you can engage with this kind of content on a very regular basis. And it's not like totally overwhelming, but it makes you think. And I think that's how we become better people, new and improved versions that can read a book in a different way every 6 months, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good
Great
point.
pick. Excellent picks. Okay, I'm gonna bring it back to Netflix. This was a Netflix original miniseries, crime tragedy Netflix miniseries, When They See Us. It was an Ava DuVernay piece. It, quote, explores the lives and families of the five suspects, all males of color, who were falsely accused and then prosecuted on charges related to the rape and assault of the Central Park jogger in 1998. That was like a big case. Obviously, we were very young when that happened, so I don't think any of us really remembered it happening. But I think it's something you hear about, and it's just a really good example of the systemic issues we were talking about before. But this miniseries in particular one had 11 Emmy nominations, so just very highly acclaimed and rightfully so. It also won the Critics' Choice Television Award for Best Limited Series. And I watched this, I'm trying to think, I think I watched it at the beginning of last school year. It was about, because I remember moving into my apartment and this being like one of the things I watched, like first things I watched on my couch in my apartment. I love that apartment. But I remember, again, being very uncomfortable and having to watch it in little increments here and there. Like, it is not a binge kind of situation. You can't do it because I think there's too much to process and it makes you too uncomfortable. But I think this is the first thing that I remember watching that really struck me. And I think it also speaks to the fact that I was avoiding content like this, maybe subconsciously so for so long. But it was something that I was like, okay, this is getting a lot of recognition. It's something I should watch. And I put it off and put it off. And then finally I was like, okay, I'm just going to do it. And I'm like, okay, I know why I was putting it off, because I'm very uncomfortable throughout this entire thing. It makes you question a lot of, I guess, things like judgments you make in the back of your mind, but also just to watch it play out in front of you and artfully done. I mean, Ava DuVernay, I think, is one of the true geniuses of our time. I think she's one of the smartest people making stuff right now. And I don't know, it really just stuck with me. I remember like dreaming about it. And I think that's such a powerful thing when like a piece of art can get into your subconscious where you literally can't put it away, and in a very troubling and uncomfortable way. And I think that was one of the first things that I was like, okay, I get it. Like, this is a Killjoy, but I think I'm a different person before and after watching that. So I just think it's a really good example. I don't know. I have lots more to say about Ava DuVernay. She's our BAB of the week because I think she's just like a kick-ass woman. But we're going to get to that. Reactions to any of the things I just said? Opening the floor. Has anybody seen it?
No, I mean, I've been meaning to watch it because you always see the ads on Netflix, and I've been meaning to like press on.
And that's the thing.
But I just want to be like fully engaged in it in order to get the full.
And I think there's so many good examples of content like this. This was just one that I happened to come across. So I think there's a million different things that will give you a similar feeling and maybe strike different people in different ways. But yeah, I don't know. That one just like really hit home for me of like, oh my God, like it just, I don't know, it was striking. That's the best word I can use. Really well done.
It seems uncomfortable also because it's an intersectional conversation, and that it talks about sexual assault against women and the danger they face on a daily basis doing any activity, and then racially profiling Black males as a way of, wiping your hands clean of the situation and letting the public say, hey, we did something, but not really addressing the overall systemic issue that is facing this and led to these events to take place.
Yeah.
So doubly uncomfortable for that reason.
Right. And then it's like, if you're
that's awesome.
on one side of the spectrum, like, are you ignoring how horrific it was that a woman was raped in the park? Like, no, that's still a terrible thing, but that doesn't mean you pick the first Black kid you see and just go with it. You know what I mean? So it's just, again, because that's how life is. There's so many intersecting things happening at the same time. Very nuanced. The actors were phenomenal and like young kids. So it was just really moving to watch. I don't know. But I have a lot to say about Ava DuVernay. And I didn't know much about her story. I knew that she kind of came to directing and cinema later in life. And I knew it was kind of like a bit removed, this career for her. And it wasn't always her plan, but I never knew like the ins and outs of it, I guess. So I'll give you guys a little rundown bio. She's my new favorite person in the whole wide world. She's up there with Elaine Weltroth. And then Elaine Weltroth has a chapter in her book about meeting Ava DuVernay, and she invites her to LA into her home, and they have this whole evening like with popcorn on her couch where they talk about her career. And Elaine's just saying this was like a big turning point moment. So it's like, not only does Ava make this kind of content, she's like actively changing lives of people I admire more than anyone else. Like, it was so cool to read. Oh my God, it was so cool. I mean, I can't wait to hear what you say about that book. It's gonna be amazing.
I know.
Okay, so Ava DuVernay, she's 47 years old, at the absolute top of her game. I think she's, like I said, one of the most, she's just a genius. I really believe that in my soul. She is an alum of UCLA. She had degrees in English, holler my English majors, and African American studies. Seems fitting. That makes sense. She was originally interested in broadcast journalism during her undergraduate career, and she interned for CBS News during the OJ trial. So this was how she first got into the whole thing. You guys know how I feel about the OJ trial. I think it's one of the most fascinating ever. So it's cool to me how that intersects. So this, as the story goes, and I think this is according to her website, so we know it's true. Her first assignment as an intern at CBS News was to like dig through jurors' trash to like dig up stories and to try to find like a good lead for CBS to take and like air on the news. And she was doing this and she had this like aha moment of, what am I doing? Like, this is investigative journalism. This is insane. This isn't what people need to know. This is us just digging around for something to stick. It doesn't mean anything. I'm not making real change in the world. And she was like very frustrated by that experience. So she kind of pivoted and changed, like had a change of heart, started getting into PR, which I'm like, girl, I want to get into PR. So it's like, Ava, I feel you in my soul. So then she started her own PR agency, did that for like what she assumed would be her career. But as the PR thing kept going, she was in LA working with a lot of directors, cinematographers, doing PR campaigns for them. She kind of fell in love with filmmaking and storytelling. And she was like, maybe this is what I'm meant to do. If I love working with these people and being surrounded by storytellers, why don't I try my hand at storytelling? And if her incredible success has anything to tell us, it's that that was the right call for Ava DuVernay. She is incredible. So I don't know. I just think what a story. I think it's also cool to see how like nobody knows what they want to do and you could still be the best ever, even if you don't start your like ultimate career till you're like 30. You know what I mean? There's a lot of wiggle room. There's no one set path. Emma, you tell me that all the time. So like, yes, I feel it. I don't know. Ava, any reactions? How do we feel? The OJ trial. Can you believe? I can't get over it.
What's getting me is that she had to dig through the jurors' trash. I didn't know that was a thing, but
OJ changed everything. I am so obsessed with that. It really did. Like, our world would be completely different if OJ Simpson never killed those people. I really believe that myself, and he did. Like, come on. I can't. Like, what a random little tidbit. I'm so glad I learned that fact.
I'm always interested in moments of clarity. What spawns them, where they happen, and the extent to which they change us. Have you ever had a moment of clarity where you felt completely in the moment or questioning the situation? This is why people don't like to have lunch with me, but I'm gonna say it anyway because I'm curious. Have you ever had that where you felt that in any capacity?
I don't know if I have a very good answer. I don't know. I feel like maybe sort of an answer might be like watching something like When They See Us, just because I think it changed how I interact with the world and how I seek out the content that I'm watching and all of that kind of stuff. So maybe things like that, of like things you consume that change you.
Yeah.
But I don't know if there was ever one like experience that was just mine that I was like, this changed my life. I don't know. I would have to think about that. I'll get back to you. I'll send you a voice memo.
Oh, please do.
Oh.
Yeah, I was gonna say, honestly, it's like going back to the calf conversations, Kevin. Like I don't know. I think differently. I don't know if there's, to Rachel's point, like one exact moment, but I think it's just conversing with my friends that I love so much and that we're friends because we have these conversations, and I think that's very special. But yeah, I would say like literally every single, even our Zoom conversation yesterday, Kevin, like I don't know, I there's always moments of clarity for me in that, and then I'm always so thankful for you guys because it's like I'm learning every time I'm talking to you guys, not just like gossiping or like something like that.
Yeah, it's a great point to find these you know, moments of clarity sounds very like Buddha, you know, found clarity, but it's can happen in these seemingly mundane moments of just not saying any conversations that we have are mundane, but it's just an everyday thing that we hope to have. And then you walk away from it, you know, you hang up the meeting call and you're like, wow, that was actually really nice. And you walk away changed. That's a great answer. Both of them. Cool.
I have a couple more.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to talk more about Ava DuVernay and like give some stats and facts. But if you have more to say on this, please do. I love this.
I also found that digging through trash is fascinating, because that's like a moment that you can understand. Really seeing your hand reach into a trash can and then pulling out whatever and looking, saying, "What the hell am I doing?"
Yeah.
And questioning a systematic thing. I mean, you're covering OJ, but then you're also covering how these things get covered, how these things are reported on. And this is the scoop, someone's trash. Like we're trying to find the truth in a garbage can. I mean, that's kind of poetic in a way. It's not fair. So I appreciate it. Sucks to have that experience, but it led to a lot of great things in her filmmaking.
Yeah, and I think it's a message of learning to trust your instincts. Like if you know that feels wrong, don't be afraid to change your career path. Like it's never too late to do what you love and what you're passionate about. So that's a good takeaway for me. I'm happy with that. But a little more on Ava, my girl. I feel like we're on a first name basis. We're not at all. But anyway. So Selma, she did Selma. She did 13th. She did A Wrinkle in Time, which broke every record ever because she was the first Black female director to helm a $100 million film. Because that had everyone. That had Oprah, Mindy Kaling, Reese Witherspoon. Like that was a big deal. And I think a good step for Disney and like being more inclusive and choosing people like Ava DuVernay to helm a film is a very significant choice and one that I think speaks to the brand that you want to be. So again, an example of how important it is to use the power that you garner from the world. And I think she's doing a really good job of that. She also won the directing award in the U.S. Dramatic Competition at the 2012 Sundance Film Festival for her second feature of the film Middle of Nowhere, becoming the first Black woman to win the award. So she's a lot of firsts. I don't know, I just think she's a really good representative figure. She's all about using art for activism, and I think that's something all of us get excited about. I think it's a really good way to share a message, and I think that's where this Killjoy content really becomes the most effective, when art and activism meet. I don't know. That's all I got. What are we thinking? How are we feeling?
I'm ready to like go find some more content, honestly. I don't know. I'm excited to now be aware of perhaps the content that I'm watching, listening to, reading, and just kind of being like, oh, this is Killjoy content, etc. And just being more aware of the term. Like, honestly, you guys introduced me to it a while back, but I never really thought about it too much. So thank you guys for doing
I remember the moment that I heard it for the first time.
Yeah.
It was in the Museum of Natural History online, all three of us. Do you remember that when we were meeting up with Devin in
Oh my
in Museum of Natural
gosh,
History?
yes. Oh my gosh, I can vividly remember this.
I remember the sweater I was wearing. It was polka dot.
Me too.
Wow.
That was a nice day. We all met up on 77th Street by West End. Or no, not West End. Anyway, Park. I can't think of the
Park West?
I haven't been in New York for so long. Anyway, we were on 77th Street where I live. Don't tell anyone. And we met up, and then we walked around the corner, walked in. I think I was very late, as I tend to be, and we were online for the Museum of Natural History, and we were just chatting, catching up, and then about halfway in, we brought up the idea of killjoys and like what it meant, and it was really nice to like have that moment where we're like talking about intense things, going through this windy band and all these places to get to the front, and then go learn more things about dinosaurs in space. All while I was under the impression that this was a program for Devin, but it turned out it was just his birthday. Not just his birthday, but it was
just a birthday. No, I'm kidding. The thing that struck me most about that anecdote that you just told is like, imagine being around that many people. I can't even imagine what that's like, being that close to strangers without a mask on your face. Like, that seems like another universe right now. No? Crazy. Time.
And then we packed into the Amsterdam Ale House
Yeah.
with a packed bar with like a table of 9 people.
Oh, what a time.
Sharing wings for the table.
Literally.
It's
Insane
wild.
to think about. Oh, what a time, man. Anyway, this is just the beginning of this conversation. I think we started to get a little deep, but next week is going to be, you don't even know what you're in for. I'm so excited, but I'm really excited. I think this was a really good preface to that conversation. I think we got warmed up a little bit, and I'm more excited than I was before to have important conversations like the one we're about to have. So definitely check us out next week with Emma and Kevin. Emma and Kevin, thank you for joining. I don't know, I'm really happy that the trio was on this episode. Oh, I couldn't be more thrilled. Anyway, yes, like I said, next week, continuation of the Killjoy conversation. We're going to do a deep dive into Sara Ahmed's Feminist Manifesto. So if that gives any indication of like, it's going to be academic. I'm so excited. All right, yeah, so signing off. If you like what you're hearing, be sure to follow us on Spotify or just subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, feel free, rate and review, all of that good stuff. We appreciate it. You can also find us on Instagram at her.blog.life for blog posts, which we've been getting some more out there. It's very exciting. You can go to herbloglife.online. And of course, for the behind the scenes videos like this one, you can just search me on YouTube, Rachel Malik, RachelMalak. As always, thank you for listening. Okay, you guys say your names. Kevin, you start. Be like, I'm Kevin Verga.
I'm Kevin Verga.
I'm Emma Spoldy.
And I'm Rachel Malik. Thank you for listening. This has been the Her Life BLOGCAST.
Woo.